welcome back to the Target Transfers podcast, the number one heat printing podcast in the world. Today, Andy and I are back on our own with no guests. We're just going to do a Q&A episode for you. We've had quite a few questions come in over our socials in the last few days, so we thought we'd just do a bit of a longer episode, answer them all for you guys. That's basically what we're going to do. But before we get started, we just want to quickly let everyone know that on Wednesday, the 19th of October, which is this coming Wednesday, is the exclusive 2023 Apparel launch event with Bella Canvas here at Target Transfers HQ. We've got Beachfield coming, Ralloizer coming, Bella Canvas coming, obviously, and there are limited tickets available. The event is free, but you do need to pre-book. So head on to the link in the description and get your tickets for that if you haven't already. It's less than a week away, so very excited about that.
Yeah, it's the last heat printing event of the year. So this is a really big one. If you're looking to start next year with a bang, come along to this event, because we're not, as well as having some of the first chance to see what are going to be the brand new garment colors that everyone's going to be using next year. So you've got 2 month head start, 2.5 months head start on your competition. We're also going to be doing a little bit of a masterclass on how to decorate onto any material. So if you're having trouble with anything and you need some help, come along, ask us questions, meet us in person, and we can walk you through absolutely any heat printing technique that you might want to find out about.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the biggest and last event of the year, so don't miss that one. It's going to be good. I'm excited.
It should be really quickly. Good. Yeah, and there's the colours that we got the chance to see a sneak peek of look really nice as well.
They do. I was about to say, I want that one from my, but I won't reveal what the colours are. Okay, great. So shall we just jump straight into some questions then? So first question says, hi there, I have a heat press machine. I need an image on heat transfer paper that I can put onto some t-shirts. I'm told the best ones are screen print heat transfers. Would you agree?
I guess it depends on the image, really. If it's just one colour or two colours, then yeah, why not screen printed? If it's, when they say an image, if it's like a photo, then I would say that's not the option you want to go for, because screen printing is there to be sort of one colour, 2 color, 3 color, but block color, and it's Pantone matched, it's ink mix. So if you want something like a photo, I'd either go with ultra color if you got to do lots of them, or if you're just looking to do a few one-offs and it's only like need one of each, then go with ultra color max, the direct to film option, because then you just need to order one and you can get that nice and easy.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Another question says, hey, I've designed a gang sheet for Levers hoodies. There are bright neon colours on the design. Will the ultra colour be able to print that colour as neon, or does it dull the colour down?
I guess it depends on how many neon colours you're talking about. So if it was, say, just like one neon colour, then I would go with the 1 to 5 colour screen option anyway.
Yeah.
So ultra colour doesn't dull colours down at all. So not in the slightest bit. But
if you've got neons,
the neons with the 1 to 5 colour screen, because they're an ink mix, they look better than absolutely anything else.
Wearing them.
Exactly. So if you want your
for those of you viewing on YouTube.
Yeah. So if it's just like 1 or 2 color, then I would go the 1 to 5 color screen. 1, the neon inks look amazing, and 2, it'd be slightly cheaper to do it that way anyway. So you might as well pick the best option for your business then.
Yeah. We have had some pretty, I was going to say potent, that's not the right word, prominent colours through ultra colour. Our other podcast sweats with the mic gradient on them, they're pink and yellow, and they're not neons, but they're pretty bright and punchy, and they look really good with ultra colour. So I think it just depends on, like you say, more your design and the best price point, really.
Yeah, both products will look great. There's no, because it's a high quality print option, there's no dulling of colours with any of the products. They're not going to look dull on black versus white. They'll look amazing on both.
Cool. Just wondering if there is a way to remove the ultra color transfers from a garment if I mess it up. When you say mess it up, do you mean the application, the placement?
They probably put, I imagine they've probably either put it in the wrong place or they've not followed the instructions, and then
it's half come off.
Yeah, to be honest with you, there really isn't. There are vinyl remover products on the market which you could buy, but
do they actually work though?
Not fully. They're not going to magically make your garment new again.
Mhm.
So you might be able to get the transfer off, but you might find that actually there's a bit of a discoloring to it. The
Yeah.
t-shirt that's underneath it, it's not. You're essentially going to treat it with chemicals, so it's not like putting vanish on a stain and you can never tell the difference.
That'd be good though.
Yeah, we could, but yeah, the best bet is to take your time and do things properly. You can save lots of time when you're getting the garment on and off by using like a quick slip or something, so then you can allow yourself more time to get the placement part right.
Mm.
And if that's something you struggle with, there's a free ebook on our website literally called the Guide to Designer Placement, which will tell you how to perfectly place every single transfer type and style anyway.
That is
So that
very
way
true.
you can create a process where you will make less mistakes. And if you're using a good heat press, it will go on properly every time if you get the alignment right.
Yeah. I'd always like what you said about testing, have a test like a garment that you just test on and make sure you press like one of your transfers first so that you can tell if the pressure's right, because then at least you've only wasted one transfer, not a whole garment, if you've got a test garment.
Yeah, if you haven't got a
on.
pressure readout, that's a good way to it's the best way to do it.
That's probably one of the most important things for people. When people get them wrong, it's either the pressure or the fact that they haven't waited for it to go cold before they've peeled it.
Yeah, if you're using a cheap press, cold spots.
Oh, that's a very good point. Pressure, yeah.
Yeah, and if that's something you're worried about, it doesn't cost very much to get a good quality heat gun or thermometer that you could put onto it and get a readout. I mean, 20, 35 quid most.
Yeah.
And then you can check for your garment goes on whether it's actually to temperature. And if it's at temperature all throughout the pattern as well.
Yeah. Because that wouldn't be great if you had, I take it that applies half the transfer and then not the other half, essentially. If only half the pattern, if there's colder patches, that won't fuse and then it will come off. And
yeah, especially if it's a big print, you might find that it could be, if it's a cheap press, it could be sort of 10, 15 or even 20-degree difference between one side and the other, or the middle and the outer part of the transfer. And then
that video that Josh did with the cheaper import press.
Yeah.
That had really significant
and that had
temperatures.
And that had the sort of the top pattern wasn't straight either. It had that curve on it, so actually even the stuff that goes in the middle, you normally expect with a cheap press half and put it in the middle. It should be near enough, but actually that, because it had a bit of a bow in the middle of the top pattern, actually even that's not.
There was a gap, wasn't there, with the ruler,
which could be enough to not even touch the transfer properly.
Yeah, not great.
No.
Okay, so in answer to your question, no, but test first.
Yeah.
Another question. I would like to have iron-on pictures of individual designs. Individual pictures, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Do you have the option to print designs that don't require a press, just some pressure and an iron? And do you have minimum order number of prints for print run for costume designs? Thanks in advance.
So I guess there's two parts to that, really. You can definitely do photos, because we've done a few YouTube videos of that recently of how to apply photos properly as a transfer.
We have.
All that we ask is that the photo is high res, so that it's like a equivalent of like 300 DPI. So that means that we want to make sure that if you put a photo on something, it's going to look good and it's going to look sharp. With our process, it will show, if it's a good photo, it will show off as a good photo. If it's a terrible photo and it's low res and you try and print it, it will look low res.
Yeah, the print will only mimic the picture you've got. It won't magically enhance it to a 4K picture.
And if you wanted to just iron them on, I mean, it kind of depends on what the use of the actual garment's going to be. So if you were to you could iron on a transfer, but
that makes me cringe when you say that.
you could. The trouble you've got is, again, if it's a cheap iron, there's no way of being able to accurately check if the iron is at the right temperature. You could put temperature gun on that, but there's going to be so many cold spots on an iron because it's not built to have consistent heat throughout it. And they're small, so unless you're using just really tiny photos, again, you're not going to be able to press the whole transfer at the same time.
Yeah.
You can't regulate pressure. It's based on how hard you lean on your iron is very inaccurate. So yes, you can do it. If it's going to go onto something and never be washed, then I guess you could get away with it probably. But it's still I won't make any guarantees. But if it's for a product you're expecting to sell and you want people to wash, like a t-shirt, and you expect people to wash it, then we wouldn't make any guarantees to transfer. So if you've got something that's accurate, like a heat press, transfer will stay on the lifetime of that garment. But if it's just something that is a cheap iron, then who knows what could happen. It might look like it's on there, but it's more likely to come off 5-10 washes down the line.
Yeah, and it's a bit like with the handheld presses that you get as well. There's no guarantee you could fully lean into it and give it as much pressure as you could, but there's no. Did you spill that?
So there's a cut there.
It's like really.
I was like trying to be really careful with that. I was like, oops.
I just saw this dribble.
There we go.
Where did we go to before Andy dribbled?
You might just have to cut that answer after I finish my bit, I think.
Oh dear. Okay, what was I going to say? All right, we'll cut back in. Beth, will you please note the timestamp before I need to cut that?
Oh, dear.
There we go. I suppose it's a bit like with the handheld presses. Like people say that they're putting a load of pressure behind it, but it's only as much body weight as you can get behind that as to how much pressure it is. And it might be too much, it might be too little, but it's never going to be consistent, and you never know what the actual readout is of that. So I suppose it's the same with an iron, like you say.
And a lot of to be honest with you, a lot of the instructions that I've seen with these sort of crafting handheld presses I would actually say they're not accurate. A lot of them are called for light pressure, which is not true for vinyl or heat transfers. So if they're built on the principle that they need light pressure to apply stuff, then they're just never going to work as a commercial product that way.
No, that is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. But like you say, if it's something that you're only going to wear once, it's hit and miss with an iron, but it can be done. But for longevity, so if it was like a hen do or something and you're just going to wear them for one night, you might be able to get away with it, but
it's
there's
very
no
much
guarantees.
at your own risk.
Yeah, at your own risk, exactly. Okay, morning guys. We did our first order of ultra color transfers. Very pleased, but the customer has requested another 10 more. How do you suggest we proceed with this? We have another order for a different design. Can we mix designs on A4 sheets to make up numbers? I don't see how on your designer page. Okay,
yeah, it's really easy. I mean, firstly, congratulations on placing your first order.
And for getting a repeat order off of your first order.
What we call a gang sheet. So if anyone's listening that's never ordered a gang sheet before, what this means is that with all our transfer layouts, so if you pick a product for transfers, any of the products, you basically have 8 layouts. The 8 layouts are based on around standard sizing. So there's a neck label one, there's a left chest one, there's A5, A4, A6. These are based on maximum print areas for particular designs, but all of them are available to do what we call a gang sheet or a loaded sheet. So basically it means put as many designs as you want onto it. We're not going to charge you extra for that. I know that some people do that, but we decide to let you make the sheet yourself. So
yeah, you pay for the sheet, put what you want on it.
Just be careful about how many put-ons, so you don't spend all your time cutting pictures out, basically.
Or too finely together, so you can't get scissors between them.
Yeah, as long as you can get scissors between them, then put as many as you want to on there. We're not going to stop you.
We've all made that mistake before. Yeah. And just to touch on as well, I know with this question, the customer in question wants to order more than one design per sheet. However, if you were to just reorder the exact same design, you can log on to your EasyView account and it stores all of your previous orders. So you don't have to re-upload the file or anything like that. You can literally just go onto the previous order and hit reorder. So if you don't want to add in any more designs onto the sheet, or you want to reorder a gang sheet, etc., that is all in your account, in your system as well, just to flag in case no one knew that. Okay, next question. I bought some custom heat transfers from you at the start of this year. I've never used them before, and I was just wondering if when I go to use a heat press on it, do I need to put a Teflon sheet over the transfer?
You don't necessarily need to know. I mean,
is that in relation to how long they've had the transfers, or just in general application?
I guess we can answer them both. So in regards, if they've had the transfer since January, as long as they've been kept in a sealed bag in a dry place, then they don't need to worry about that. Transfers have a long lifetime on them. I mean, obviously, if you left them out in the sun or when it was 45 degrees or
in a really damp room unsealed,
then we wouldn't recommend using them. But if they've just been in a drawer in the bag they came in, then they'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then the second part was about a Teflon sheet. You don't have to use a Teflon sheet as standard. So this is something we would refer to this as grip flex. So if you go onto a website, type in Gripflex, you'll be able to see what this person's talking about. It's essentially a grey sort of protective sheet that you can put on. So it's mainly for like if you're doing really heat sensitive things like polyester, nylon, fleece, velvet, potentially things like that. But if you're just doing cotton t-shirts, the standard prints, you don't need one. It's more of a next level up. We would just recommend using something we call it release paper. You can buy like 50 sheets for £12 on our website, but basically it's like a very thin protective cover that goes on top of a transfer. And the main principle is that if you're using automatic press and it pops up automatically, if you happen to be using a cold peel transfer, it just means that the transfer won't come up. So if you didn't have a cover sheet, when the machine popped back up, you'll try and pull the transfer with it and peel it hot, essentially. So you put the release paper and it just pulls that back up
without affecting the
Secondly, I mean, we've seen it before with some customers where they put their transfer on upside down, and it's all very embarrassing for them because if they didn't have a release paper on, they would fuse that transfer to the top platen, and they'd have to spend all afternoon cleaning the press. So
which we did not make said customer do.
No, so that's why if you use a release paper, and you make that mistake, or someone else makes that mistake, then there's no harm done that way.
No, everyone just gets a good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Where are we? So this customer wants to know if we have any recommendations for which products to make at Christmas time that are easy but have a fairly decent sale price. This is their first year printing products for Christmas using the heat press.
Okay, so the answer is
off the top of your head,
off the top of my head, yeah. So I would go number one. I would go pajamas.
Okay.
Because the profit margin on them is really big. So I mean, the average cost of buying like a set of blank pajamas, I think it was £10 off otherwise, something like that for a really good quality set, like top and bottom, like plaid style, long sleeve, nice tailoring on them, and then to put like a monogram on them, which is very popular. I think it was something like 20p. I think we worked it out to put monogram on, depending on which product you're using. Really cheap to do it. And then the average sale price on Etsy, I think it was like £20 to £40. Some are even like 55 quid.
If they're personalised as well.
Yeah, there was nothing particularly special about them. They just this seller had decided to make them have an appearance of being premium, but there was no difference between them and the ones anyone could buy. So that would be a good one. I would encourage people to watch our webinar that we did a couple of weeks ago around personalization at Christmas. But one of the things that I found quite useful, and we've seen sort of really good feedback already from our customers, actually how to use personalization at scale with UltraColor Max. So this is our direct-to-film product where you only need to order one 55 by 55 centimeter sheet of it, but you could get like between 30 and 80 or even 100 different Christmas designs on there, and you could have them all different. So you can follow the tutorial and you can learn how to put like plaid or snowflakes or Father Christmas behind every single initial. So you can make some really cool bespoke designs that look really vibrant when printed. So that would be one I'd recommend. Just put it on anything. I mean, stockings is always a good one at this time of year. So you could put like stop here for Molly and have it in a nice Christmas pattern like candy cane print.
We should have done that in our samples. We should have put one of our names on there. I think sweatshirts are a good one. I know it's really boring and basic, but everyone has a Christmas jumper, and 9 times out of 10 they're sweatshirts or hoodies. I know you can get the knitted ones as such, but I think sweats are becoming a bit more popular because they're a bit more contemporary, comfy. I don't know. It depends on the weather for whether or not you want a knitted jumper, and you're limited as to what you can have design wise on knitted stuff versus your plain sweatshirt. So
and we've got those our new range of shimmer inks as well. So those the green in particular, like the Kelly green shimmer, looks fantastic on.
Are we calling it Kelly green this year? What's it actually called?
It's just called tree green, I think, but it's essentially a Kelly green. So if you're used to our vinyl and you've used Kelly green glitter or the sports film green, then you'll know exactly what it is. That kind of classic green at Christmas, but with a bit of shimmer in it, it really looks quite great.
Just so that everyone understands what I'm talking about green wise. Last year we did a limey green as well,
Yeah.
which we call Grinch green. So just to clear up any confusion, the new green for this year is more of a traditional Christmas tree green. And same with the red as well. We've got a slightly darker Christmas red.
It's
shimmer,
kind of a signal red, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's very traditional, but really punchy looking. So it looks really good on designs.
Cool. So pajamas, stockings, sweatshirts.
Hot water bottle covers. That's quite a good one.
That's a good idea.
I've seen a few people doing that. That works quite well because again, you can easily put transfers onto it depending on the material the hot water bottle cover is made out of. But it's something a bit different to personalize, and it has quite a high perceived value of it. But sort of quite reasonable to get hold of a hot water bottle cover, and then you could easily sell it for like £10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And most people have got hot water bottles, so they don't really even need to put the hot water bottle in it either, to be honest with you.
No, and they'll probably be more popular this year with heating bills going up. Everyone will be wearing very cozy pajamas and snuggling up with hot water bottles. So very good to sell them as a package.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Christmas is that I guess it's not necessarily a product as such, but the customers that we have that make the most money at Christmas are the ones that sell sets for families. So don't just think about selling a set of one. You sell it to the whole family. So think about who's going to be there on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and it could be 5, 6, 7, 8, and even 10 people there potentially. So if you can sell to every single customer who's going to buy for every single person there, you could be looking at and you're doing pajamas at £20 profit a piece. You can make quite a lot of money straight away out of that. So
just off of one family.
Yeah, even if it's just the jumpers and it says like mum, dad, son, daughter.
Yeah, long sleeve tees.
Yeah,
Christmas morning.
You can do some really good numbers there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So hopefully that has helped. If you would like some more ideas on Christmas products, do jump on and watch the live Andy and I did a few weeks ago. That's still on our YouTube channel now.
And all transfers take 2 days to get to you, so it's not too late even now. I mean, it's a little bit late, but it's not too late.
It's a little bit late, but not too late.
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage you to be more. If you listen to this and you're thinking about doing it next year, don't wait till October to start it. But in reality, you could get your transfer designs back later this weekend, get a heat pressed order next day delivery, and you could get started.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in their gut think, July, August is way too early to be thinking about Christmas. But in reality, when you're making consumer products, if anything, it's just about the right time, if not a bit late.
You need to make sure you've got everything in stock or easy access to all your blanks.
Figuring out what you can sell is the first question.
Yeah.
But from that question, what 3 products do you want to sell? Well, you got to figure out what you need to sell, then what you want to put on them, the colours, who you're marketing to.
And the other thing that I would tell you to do if you're thinking about selling Christmas products this year is to be really mindful of how you're going to get that product to the customer, because there's going to be a lot of postal strikes all throughout October and November this year.
Oh no, that means that we do our Christmas shopping really late. We're going to be completely stuffed when it comes to getting last minute deliveries, aren't we?
Yeah, so be prepared and have options available depending on if those strikes go ahead or not.
Oh dear. Yeah, I think I might need to just start my Christmas shopping. Okay. When is the launch for the new 2023 garments happening? 19th of October. A link in the description for tickets. The event is less than a week away.
And it's an afternoon and an evening session for that. So depending on what's more convenient for you.
I think the afternoon session might be full.
It might be at this point. What time we're recording this? A few days ahead of time. It might be full.
Yeah, there's only 5 spaces left at the time of recording. So
yeah, get on that now.
Yeah, if not, we do have evening spaces available. Which t-shirts would you recommend for a new business? I've seen a few cheaper options on Rallowise, but not sure which route to go down. I'm assuming this is a new business.
I mean, my number one advice would be come and see us on the 19th, because there's going to be lots of t-shirts that you can touch and feel in the building. So if you want to kind of have a starting point, that's a great place to start, because I mean, it will be Bella Canvas products, but if you speak to the people at Bella Canvas that will be here, they'll be able to explain to you what to look for in a t-shirt, and it'll kind of start to give you a bit of an idea of what kind of material makeup, because you obviously you look at a t-shirt and you think, oh, it's probably just cotton. Actually, there's lots of different variations. And how much is it polycotton? Is there other bits and pieces? Is it tri-blend? So the majority of t-shirt types will be available to see at the event. And then in that way, you can start to realize what type of product you want to be creating. Actually, this is the makeup of the product I need.
Yeah, I prefer this feel
Yeah,
to
you
this,
can
this
feel how
fit to
heavy
this
it
one.
is, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Because the fit of them is quite different as well. I know from different things that we've tried before, we've ordered things for testing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just the fit of some of them are completely different, even though they look the same on the website, and the feel and how tight or loose or high neck or all of those things come into play when you're figuring out which one is the most comfortable and best quality. So
we're also going to be joined by some people from the Rally's new customer development team. So they have a special team that's set up to help customers that have never done anything before and really need a helping hand. But you can actually meet them in person and actually have these discussions with them and ask these questions about what they would recommend for when you're starting. The main thing really is just there's not much of a price difference between a kind of entry level, shall we say, and a more premium t-shirt, especially. It could only be 50p or a pound. So it really depends on whoever's put the question. It depends on, is it because they're just going to put transfers onto it and sell it to a customer? It's just, if it's just like workwear or something that's going to be sort of have a hard life, then they might not necessarily want a premium product. But if they're actually their clothing brand and they need it to feel premium, they might actually, you might want to think about spending an extra 50p so that it feels like you've got a £35 t-shirt on your hands.
Yeah. That is the biggest thing, quality. And even if you are a new business, I would definitely recommend opting for the high quality garment if you can, price wise. Like you say, it's not a major jump in it.
No.
But it just means that whoever you produce t-shirts or jumpers or whatever for, even in the early stages of your business, they will still think, oh, that was a really decent quality t-shirt, that's washed really well, blah blah blah. They'll come back to you. Whereas if it takes you 6 months to figure out which t-shirt is the best quality, that's 6 months worth of business that you might not get return on, or repeat business on. Sorry. So yeah, always opt for the high quality where you can. Okay. If I wanted to get involved with levers for 2023, when would you say to get started? What's the rough timeline?
I mean, you can get started now. I mean, we're seeing levers 23 orders go through already. Because I guess the style is not necessarily just for June of next year. So obviously the biggest element of levers 2023 product shifting is June, when kids leave a particular year of school. But in terms of actually having those conversations with the schools, you should probably start doing that now, because you don't want to be underprepared for next year. You don't want to wait till next year and actually someone's already come by and said, oh, actually, do you know what?
We've done it already.
Yeah, someone's already came in and did it. They asked us last month. So you don't want to miss out. But there's lots of other stuff that's going on as well. Like, we've had people, even in May of this year, were hounding us for like, when's the 23 template coming out?
I know, I wasn't ready for it. We'd only just wrapped up 22 and we had customers on the phone asking for 23.
Yeah. But there's things like school trips, or I think sort of October half term is when they do ski trips, maybe.
Okay.
Something like that. So anything that school does that's a class of 23, or something's happening in the year that finishes 2023, they tend to go for that same template as well. So I'd get started now. The template is live on custom.targettransfers.com. Just go to navbar, click levers 23, and you can download a free template, which gives you a couple of different options for how you want to set up your gang sheet for it. We do have a live event planned at some point pretty soon. I can't remember the exact date, where we'll go through exactly how to artwork.
Before Christmas, for sure.
Yeah, exactly how to artwork that 23 design. But if you're in a rush, then the 2022 webinar is live on a YouTube channel, so you can follow the same steps and it'll work just as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't just have to be for schools or school clubs. It could be local dance clubs or sports clubs or any form of club as such that has group teams that might be saying goodbye to, if like a few of them are leaving primary school up to high school, or high school to college or university, or it doesn't just have to be schools in particular to have that concept. Oh, this is a good one. Not a question. Just wanted to say that I tried high build after watching your live last week, and 3 customers have already requested it for their next order based on my samples. Very happy, and have managed to up the sale price by £5 per piece too.
Yeah, makes
That's
sense.
fantastic.
I mean, the high build product's very premium, so
Yeah.
when customers get their hand on it and they have a look at it, it has a real wow factor to it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of customers have started using it, but there's still
very retail.
Yeah, there's still a lot of business available. There's a lot of market available for anyone who wants to get started using that product.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. We'll be glad we could help. I want to start a t-shirt printing business, but don't have a particular brand idea / message like lots of other successful brands do. Can I still have a successful printing business? I'm assuming they mean they either don't have like a concept in mind for a particular brand or like a message behind. Like the one that comes to mind is Overcomers, who we had on the podcast before. There's a meaning behind that brand, so I'm assuming that's where they're going.
I mean, there's 2 parts, I guess. That is that absolutely you could just start a fulfillment company. So someone comes to you and say, I want my logo on a t-shirt or on a polo shirt or hoodie. You order your t-shirts in, you get transfers from us, put it under a heat press, and you do that work for people.
Yeah,
that's absolutely one way of looking at it. And we have lots and lots of customers that are so successful doing that, because there's always someone that wants printed garments.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be for your brand. A lot of people already have their own brands and need their stuff putting on garments.
I guess the other thing is that I would perhaps just write down why you're doing this, and then actually you might find what your backstory is. You might find that you've got way more of an interesting story than you might think. Oh, it's just me. I'm not very interesting. But actually, you might find that everyone else finds your reason for what you're doing fascinating. We've met so many interesting people who've either come in to do a one-to-one or been on the podcast. Let's say like Taffy from Overcomers, who has a brand and a fulfillment company. So that's a good episode to go back and listen to, because he's doing both sides. Or Stephen from Proud and Gifted, when he's doing things to a very positive thing to help promote people who deserve to have a light shine upon them. His backstory is really interesting. Why he's doing it's really interesting. So you might take for granted your backstory, but maybe if you write it down, and you might be like, actually, there is a story behind that. And then if you were to communicate that to customers, they might actually be really interested in why you're doing what you're doing, and actually there would be a market for a clothing brand based around your ideas, your principles. So it's definitely worth considering doing both. Or the fulfillment, you start off with fulfillment, and that gives the opportunity to pay for you to do the branding part on the side, and start off that way as well.
Yeah. I would add to that as well that regardless of what business you think that you want to start, whether it's your own clothing brand or whether it's, like Andy said, a fulfillment company, regardless of what the brand is, what you're printing, etc., it's the person behind the brand and how authentic and passionate you are about your business. So whether or not you're printing other people's logos, levers, hoodies for different schools, or you're creating your own brand with a strong message behind it, either way is going to be down to your passion and your skill towards heat printing, which from this, it sounds like you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be querying what to do with heat printing. It would be, what business do I start? And secondly, it's the person behind the brand. So if your customers identify with you and can see that you're passionate about it, can see that you're authentic with what you do, they're more likely to lean in towards you and your business, regardless of what that business or message is, than someone who's just doing it to make a profit as such, like solely that.
Or even if you are just doing it to make profit, because there's a lot of profit to be made from being heat printer, it's actually lean into that and talk about it from an entrepreneurial point of view, and why you're doing it. What you're, you could even be quite open about profit margins and things like that. But if you're doing it, if that is your reason for doing it, but you're talking about that reason in an authentic way, and you really believe in that is what you're passionate about, then there's probably quite an audience for that too. And if you end up with a high quality product, they're still going to respect that fact and want to come to you for the products.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay. I think we're nearly there. Oh, this is a good one. Can any of your vinyls be used for applique? I had this conversation with someone earlier today, actually. about the glitter, isn't it? People use a glitter
Yeah,
vinyl.
I would say on that one, I would go and head to Styles TV on YouTube and watch some of their videos upon it, because they can do. Applique is not really massive in this country, but there is an audience for it. But the experts at teaching how to do that would be
Styles.
the Styles TV. Yeah, so go and watch some of their videos. Search on their YouTube channel for it, and you'll find some really great tutorials about it.
But in answer to your question, yes, it can be done with specific vinyls.
Anything's possible. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one for you.
Okay.
Expert on the 360.
Okay.
Recommendations for fusing onto beanie hats.
I mean, with the hat printing, it kind of still comes down to what the product is made. So there's so much variation from hat to hat. Snap back to beanie is that it all comes down to testing, really.
Yeah.
How heat sensitive the material is, how much acrylic there is in that beanie. You know, it's definitely possible to heat print onto hats, but you've got to be prepared to test to make sure you find the recipe for you.
Would you say it's easier to fuse onto beanies that have the little panel on the front than it is to fuse on the purely knitted ones, because you've got a base to put the adhesive onto as such?
Yeah, I would say it's always easier with something to kind of work with, but I've seen it done on both types successfully. But yeah, just test on that one until you find the result that works for you.
Cool. And final question: fusing onto football kits for my son's local team, which vinyl/transfer would you recommend for this?
So vinyl wise, I would go with Premium Plus, assuming that if it's names and numbers on the back, it's going to be one color anyway.
I would assume so, yeah.
Mostly white, black, or red anyway. Premium Plus is the vinyl that has slight stretch to it, has 4-way stretch to it. So lots of stretch actually, but it means that it can very easily go on to polyester, nylons, products like that, and it can have a bit of a hard life. So that would be if you're just doing names and numbers. If you're looking to do, say, sponsorships on the front though, and it's more than one color, then I would go with Ultra Color. That has stretch in it. So all of our heat transfers that you can buy online, we just put stretch in them anyway, because we don't want to overcomplicate product options. So it means if you're just doing a football shirt, then Ultra Color would be a great option on the front. You could do a sponsorship, you could do the club badge, you could do the names and numbers with it on the back as well, no problem. But you can always mix and match. Do Premium Plus vinyl on the back, but do Ultra Color on the front, and it would be absolutely no problem. They'll be the best options. Ultra Color has that really low fuse temperature as well, so it's really good if you have any issues with it's heat sensitive football shirts that might mark a bit.
Quite a few of them are as well, aren't they? Because they're that it's not polyester. Is it acrylic?
It's a lot of polyester. No, it's mostly polyester in those ones. Yeah,
they're not as soft. They're a bit more.
Yeah, it's because of the sweat resistance in them as well. Though.
Oh, good point.
The only other thing would be if it's a dark coloured garment or heavily dyed garment, which a lot of football kit is there is a subby blocker version of all our transfers. So if you're worried about if you've got a really light coloured design and you're worried about the garment trying to bleed through, we have a subby blocker range. It basically puts a special blocking layer. You don't tell in terms of when it's fused, how does it feel? It still feels really nice and smooth and thin. But you can make sure that nothing is going to bleed through to your transfer type.
Yeah. And there's a subby blocker version of Premium Plus too, isn't there?
Yeah.
If people need that as well. Cool. We are out of questions for today. That was everything. If there's anything that anyone else needs any more help with or would like to discuss in further detail, you can send us a message via socials or give our customer service team a call or an email. They'll be happy to help you. Make sure you're signed up for the Bella Canvas event if you aren't already. It's going to be such a good event. I'm very excited and don't want people to miss out because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, chance to see this fantastic showroom in person.
Yeah, hopefully our podcast studio will be left as is if we have space. We're hoping to leave it where it is. So yeah, come and sit in the chairs, have a little play around. Do you have anything else to add?
No, just hopefully you'll see quite a lot of you on the 19th.
Next Wednesday. Thanks for listening, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe on whichever platform you're listening or watching on. And we'll be back next Thursday at 11:30 with another episode.